Welcome, Chiefs Kingdom. Thanks for tuning in to this Red Kingdom Media production, bringing you raw, authentic Chiefs coverage. Make sure to like and subscribe to stay up to date on your team. Now sit back and enjoy the show.
This is the Red Kingdom Media Live POSTGAME Show.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of the Red Kingdom Media Live Post-Game Show. I am your host, Daily Dale Fowler, along with my partners in crime, Clayton and Lonnie. How y'all feeling today, man, on this Sunday?
Surviving.
Yeah, happy to get by.
Yeah, right. Looks like how it's looking right now as the game is, of course, coming to its conclusion. Looks like we haven't had any significant injuries. Nothing came up other than Shamari Connor being ruled out for the rest of the game for a shoulder injury. But I have a strong feeling that maybe it was more so just like, you got hurt. Let's go ahead and get you out here because he is a guy who is in that secondary who plays with the starters then and there. So, of course, want to get him out of there as soon as possible. But it was a tough outing, y'all. I mean, for the backups, when we put it out there, to put it into perspective, I think a lot of us wanted it to at least be somewhat a little bit more competitive. But the different Broncos was like, we're going to come into this game, take full advantage of some of the starters not playing in this matchup, of course, notably Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Chris Jones. And he said, you know, we're just going to go ahead and blow them out the waters and go ahead and secure the 7th seed in the AFC and, you know, live to fight another day next week against the Buffalo Bills in that first round. So starting off with the overall thoughts, how we feel about this performance. Wasn't the best, but still got to give, of course, our takes about how we feel about the backups and how they did today.
Yeah, so I think it was a rough showing, like you said, period, for the backups in general. Not our best game, just period, just as far as stopping the run game. You've seen some flashes from some players like Jaden Hicks. You see Uche get in there and make a couple tackles. But you also see a lot of guys playing out of position. To the likes of Leo Chanel. You know, Leo Chanel is in the linebacker group, but he doesn't play a lot of that middle linebacker position, but he had to step up and do that today. And like they said, they signed a guy 3 days off the street to come in and play linebacker. I don't think you were expecting him to start in this game whatsoever. So you've seen a lot of guys playing out of position, not doing a lot of things that they usually don't do. So I mean, it makes sense. I think the score is indicative of that, but it still wasn't the showing that I think the Chiefs wanted to put out there as far as any backups playing in the game. And then just to the likes of the offense, of course, Carson Wentz, like, I know this is not the showing that he wanted to put out, being that he's going to be a free agent coming up, and we wanted to possibly get a job with another team. Putting up 0 is not a good look for Carson Wentz either. Looks like the only guy that he knew on the team to throw the ball to was Nico Remigio. So I don't know what that's all about. But it wasn't the best showing from the Chiefs, but I don't want to read too much into it because we do have backups playing, and the Broncos are a division opponent. And they did need to win this game to get in. And why not throttle the team that beat you with a block field goal when it really mattered? So I think the score is just indicative of kind of of the season and kind of how things went over there in that organization. And what we've done to them in years past. So shout out to them. They got this one.
Yep. This game is basically the last game of the season when Super Bowl 55 year, where the Chargers came into Arrowhead and beat up the Chiefs without all of our starters. And that's what gave the Chiefs their official second loss going into the postseason. Not trying to draw comparisons anymore to that season for the rest of my conversation or for the rest of our content that we have. But, you know, I agree. It's not something you want to see. You got it. We mentioned the key starters, but, you know, you could argue majority of that secondary is the exact same secondary that we've seen the 4 weeks before that. That was much more competitive. but not as many on the defensive line. And obviously, Trent McDuffie as well was inactive for this game. And obviously, that's where a lot more of the, I guess, steam behind this Chiefs defense comes from. But yeah, Bo Nix was just throwing it and running all over the field, looking a lead out there almost, letting the Denver Broncos have some confidence. But, I think the score here, 38-0, is officially going to be in the books. So the Chiefs were shut out this game, and by 38 points, obviously Sean Payton had no mercy on Andy Reid and was not going to let any sort of stuff kind of narrow that out. So congratulations, Broncos fans. You can be excited, and, Bengals fans are going to be salty and blame the Chiefs and say, y'all didn't want us to be in the postseason, blah, 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 because we beat you. But y'all would have to beat the Bills before that. And now the Broncos are set to have to perform that same miracle going into Buffalo and trying to win. But, guys, if the Broncos do, guess what the divisional round Chiefs matchup will be? It will be versus the Broncos. So, not want to set off some panic bells there. Obviously, neither coach for Kansas City was going to be, showing anything off. And I guess maybe they're showing Denver that type of respect because they knew they were going to be a 7th seed. And if, Denver does upset Buffalo in the playoffs, then they knew that they would play this team again and was not willing to give them a single inch of anything. So,
Right.
And Lonnie, I definitely agree. Nico Remigio was like the only spotlight, and he's about the only guy who can justify making this Chiefs team, and it's mostly for special teams purposes. And that's what this game is. This is basically the Chiefs special teams playing offense and defense this game, and the score is what it is. I'm not saying I wanted the Chiefs to outright try to win this game by any means, but it would have been preferable if they would have made it competitive. So that way, this next 2 weeks where they are sitting and preparing, it doesn't quite leave as bitter of a taste. But like you keep reminding everybody, as a game that does not matter and the playoffs are officially in the books, the only thing that matters is pride and your win-loss record. And a Denver win after having beaten them for gee whiz, like 8 straight years in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Now Denver is officially tied the Chiefs in back-to-back seasons, so the AFC West is getting harder, and that goes to show because the Chargers and the Broncos make it in the wild card as well. So the Chiefs were able to get some very lucky wins in this division. You mentioned the block kick, the Raiders games, both of them, honestly. But the Chiefs will not sweep the AFC West this Sunday and officially give up that game to the Broncos. But again, a game that doesn't matter. You just got to let it go. And at some point, we're really itching to talk about postseason stuff. But at this point, we can't do that until everything is set in stone. So we get to wait around some more. Have fun with that.
Right, and it looks like the game has concluded as well too. The Denver Broncos officially have defeated the Kansas City Chiefs 38-0 to go ahead and clinch that 7th seed in the AFC, and they are set to go ahead and take on the Buffalo Bills as well too. So going into my point when discussing this, yeah, like honestly, y'all hit it on a point. It was nothing to really look into this game. I mean, the Chiefs did what they had to do for the entirety of the season. They lost 1 game. They won 15 games after that. And well, of course, they won 15 games total within the season. So we did our part and we did our job. I don't think the team came out here and wanted to be like, you know what, let's just give it up. Let's not just let Cincinnati get in. Like, no, I was telling this earlier. Let me put this out here. That's what y'all get. This is what humbleness can help you with. Because all that chatter that was going on beforehand, beating us 3 games, knocking us off out of the playoffs, bragging about that, waking up to play us, always talking before the game happens as well too, always giving some bulletin board material. Guess what? You had to depend on that particular team to beat a team for you to get into the playoffs. And guess what? We already set in our standing on where we place that anyway. So you can go back and forth. We don't care how you feel about it. You can say whatever you want to say. We handle business for 16 straight weeks. We beat you in the second game of the season. We're not worried about what you're saying because we feel like we would have did it again. So I'm gonna put that out there that Andy Reid and Spagnuolo is not scared of the Cincinnati Bengals. Why would we be scared of a team that was fighting to fight for a 7th seed? That doesn't make any sense for me, even though they defeated us beforehand. And after that loss, after those losses we had beforehand as well too, when we beat them before and got over that hump and won Super Bowl, we won 2 Super Bowls after that and continued on, and you haven't beat us since. I'm not worried about the Cincinnati Bengals. I just want to put that out there, and so they can know on record we're not tripping. Y'all can take how the game y'all want to take it as, but that's it. But yeah, it was Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos. They did what they had to do today. They came out. The Kansas City Chiefs, this is our game to go ahead and get into the playoffs. They're playing our backups. And, even though they put up 38 points, I know you were kind of frustrated about that, Clayton, talking about it earlier, was predicting 42. I still give respect to Sean Payton because he's not dumb either. Yes, if we're able to get into the playoffs, we will have to beat the Buffalo Bills. But if we beat the Buffalo Bills, we're going right back to Kansas City. And that will be 3 games within the same year. And it's split. So they're going to go all out. But they had to do enough today to be like, you know what? Let's get this decent lead going into the first half, going into the second half. And then from there, get a couple guys paid like Cortland Sutton. He was able to get his money, get them going. Good morale, though, for the team going into the postseason. So it's something that they can work off of. But I respect Sean Payton to a point because when he came out in the second half, he was talking on TV. We're not worried about the team that we're playing today. And when he said that, he said it really respectfully. This is not the unit that we played weeks ago when they bought the field goal on us and they closed out the game and we got that win. It could have been a different story if they were able to win that, right, and close it out, but they weren't able to do so. So, no, he was like, nah, we just doing enough today to make sure because we know the competition that we have on the other side. They still have a great head coach. They still got a great defensive coordinator. They still got a great offense in general, offensive-minded individuals that's running that organization. But they just did their part. So you see, I'm not even describing and talking about the players today because no one really stood out to me. I'm sorry. Nobody really stood out. Nico, we were talking about Nico. He only had 2 receptions for 48 yards. And it was down the field plays. Without that, you didn't do nothing all game. Carson Steele only had 21 yards, 7 carries. Didn't do much as well either. Defensively, no stops. Bo Nix had a day. He threw for 321 yards. Now, this is the backups. I'm not raving about that. I'm just saying it's nothing that really stood out in this matchup, y'all. That's how I feel.
Yes, and I get what you're saying as far as the Chiefs fans, like not being scared of the Bengals, or we're not terrified of the Bengals. But I will say the Chiefs aren't going to help the Bengals either. So
right,
I don't think this game was to come in to help them whatsoever. So I think if it was like, okay, if we start losing, we're probably not. We're gonna try and win, but we're gonna try to win. Like we're not trying to win. So like our plan is to really keep guys kind of in shape and get people out of here and healthy. But I think it's a lot of questions going into the postseason as far as the Chiefs go. Just as of right now, like you said, we not so much look at the game, but just kind of the forecast ahead a little bit. What do we do at the left tackle position? I think is the biggest question going into the divisional game. DJ Humphries did not look his best either. Not as good as Joe Thuney. Joe Thuney looked magnificent compared to the couple of snaps that we've seen DJ Humphries have in the Chargers game and then in his Broncos game.
Just didn't look horrible. That's all.
He didn't look horrible
Morris
whatsoever.
Didn't stand out right tackle either. Kingsley was not that great as a guard. So who knows how that pick's going to turn out in the future.
Well, I just think we had a lot of questions come and arise just watching some things in this game. And I think I look forward to seeing how the Chiefs handle that going into the postseason. I think that this is a postseason that's kind of legacy dependent for Mahomes. We want to see if he can channel that kind of that Michael Jordan-esque mentality that he had earlier in the season, earlier in the postseason last year, or just all through the postseason last year. So I think this, all of these questions are going to kind of bring out the best in the Chiefs, hopefully. But I'm hoping that they have the answers to the questions, have the answers to the test when it comes to the divisional round, because who knows if the Chiefs are gonna who knows who's gonna play left tackle for the Chiefs. I mean, we want Joe Tooney to play because he looks great, but we know that he can't be out there because our interior's hurt. So I mean, it's kind of, I feel like it made a lot of questions for the Chiefs.
Ree, now this is my boy Ree. You know,
Welcome
like
back,
you
brother,
missed out.
to the
I
chat.
just went off about that.
Friend
We
of the
did not
show,
care.
thank you so much. Make sure to scroll back once the show's over.
We was not scared. I'll put it out there. I laid the groundwork to tell you. Like,
Thank
we
you
did
for
not
being
care.
a fan of the brand, though. We appreciate that. Obviously, your real ones, loyal ones, appreciate that. Honestly, if you guys will entertain it for me, the only thing, like, I'm sure none of us want to talk about a single aspect about the football, whatever you want to call it, the actual football played on the field today. I don't think any of us want to talk about it, and frankly, I don't think any real Chiefs fan who follows our content wants to hear us just talk about how the Broncos whooped us when we weren't trying anyway. So if you guys will give me a chance here, and then I think we can officially just start talking some playoff pictures, like officially go over the playoff matchups, because I think that at this point that's the most relevant thing for us at this time, and I think it's a more enjoyable conversation than talking about this Chiefs game for another 15, 20 minutes. But I know, Dale, that you're saying there's got to be a point to have a chance to let backups play at the end of the season and all this other shot. But like the NFL has already said that a game can like not exist on a score, like if something happens. Kansas City got completely demolished with a blizzard. We didn't like officially report on it in your extra point, but the Chiefs were stuck here for extra time. They couldn't actually get to Denver, and they actually can't get back to Kansas City tonight, so they have to spend their night lamenting about this incredible loss in Denver. So
what? I'm going out with Denver fans. I'm going out. Hey, Bo Nix, you in the playoffs. You a young bull, came to the AFC West. I'm pat like this. We at the club. Hey, our division in. We the best. We about to show y'all. But this is the thing. What we about to do? We about to dog y'all out still. We wanted y'all in here so we can dog everybody still. The street P gonna feel a lot better. You know what I'm saying? So go to the strip club. Go get some gas. You know what I'm saying? If Dwayne Bowe was playing, he would have got probably like a cool little ounce or two tonight, and he would have been threat. You know what I'm saying? We having fun. We having fun today. This is nothing to talk about. We're not even about to trip about this game.
That's right. And I'm announcing here on the live post game for Week 18 that I will not be making a whole Chiefs breakdown video, because why would you want me to break down play about this game either? It's just going to be a Broncos highlight.
Broncos. Yeah, Broncos.
Look at how great the Broncos were. Oh, man,
Clayton,
amazing. But go ahead.
No, I wanted you to, because like we having so much fun now, right? And we're gonna get into this. But my buddy who is in here, they need to know you are a season ticket holder. What's up with the refund situation? Because he was worried. He's trying to see what's up with the wild card game. What's going on with that? Like, are they getting their money back, or are they going to be able to go to that divisional round game? I think this is a good time for Chiefs fans who need to know from the season ticket holder what's going on. Let's talk about the important stuff right now. We not about to worry about this blowout.
Okay, well, from season ticket members' perspective, essentially once the Chiefs game no longer exists on their schedule, they remove it. So, as I remember, I paid a certain amount of money for access to this divisional game coming up, and I believe I officially had paid that full amount, and the wild card amount was less than the amount for the divisional round. So I don't believe I paid for a wild card game that didn't exist. And that's normally the case for season ticket members, is they maybe want like a little bit like as a sort of down payment, but
Mhm.
not like the entirety of it.
Mhm.
But it may be the case where they charge you for the wild card and then they're like, oh, hey, here's this much that's left for whatever the next game coming up is.
So
See what I'm saying?
basically, he might have to pay a difference, like because he got the wild card ticket
That's what I
already
was gonna
or
say.
something.
That wouldn't they split the difference to be cool? But I mean, I guess that's like Clinton. That's probably like a Chiefs question, not
Because
Yeah,
I'm quoting, yeah, it is, and I'm
yeah,
just giving the benefit of the
yeah.
doubt for the. But I'm
Right.
looking at like my invoice as a season ticket member, and it has a certain amount of money for the divisional playoff game and my parking pass, which adds up to the amount that I know that the Chiefs did charge me for, and then I've got like the amount that the AFC Championship game will be, and that will come out at a certain time when the championship game is officially in. Like will
Okay.
be existing. So that's
Yeah.
usually how it goes for season ticket members. If you're just a person kind of speculating for a game that ain't really made up, I mean, I wouldn't do that if I were you. I don't even know if that's
Basically,
legal.
call them, bro. Call them Monday. See
That's
what's up
correct.
and confirm because I'm sure they will probably try to accommodate, like you're getting this in preparation of the postseason, you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So
That's correct.
I
Okay.
gotta see. I gotta see. I would see them
say your
accommodating.
other teams, bro. You're Eagles, Falcons, and Bears fan. You don't have one team.
Okay. Can I go into my point before we talk
Yes.
playoff matchup? Okay.
Yeah.
Would the NFL ever allow a team to outright just forfeit a game? And from your perspective, would you rather the Chiefs just flat out gave the Broncos a free win on this game versus the actual effort that you saw on the field and the final score that officially ended up?
I just want to say this before you go in, Dale, because I know you're gonna say it. As professional athletes and listen to professional athletes, they will never ever go out and forfeit a game as long as they're able and willing to play. I don't think that a professional athlete will be willing to physically do that because just who they are and what they're known for, like this is their job, kind of their intent. Like I don't think even if they had the chance to, I don't see them doing that just because I hear a lot of professional athletes talk about that. And that's like one thing, like that's almost like quitting on your team. Like
And you got just so
you would
yeah.
I just wouldn't see them. I don't think they would ever even do it, even if they had the option.
And then
That's
you
just
got teams like the Bengals who would complain about that as well too. I just think like we already talk about how the integrity of the game is being taken away with this gambling and feel like stuff is fixed in a way for that. I just think that's just too obvious to go out there and do that. Now, like when talking and when we was discussing this, Clint, I will say this: I wasn't even mad when you said they were angry about it because I think that's just us as fans saying like, just we don't care, like just do whatever because it does make us look worse as a team. And then it's like we're gonna have to hear about this chat because you gotta think about let's talk about what do they call them again, the casual fans who watched in and there. They see this type of loss on the game. What happened in this game? Patrick Mahomes must got, like, you didn't even watch the game and see that nobody on either side of the ball did not even care to play the game, nor the important starters was out there as well too to do so it's just when we talk about it, what Lonnie said, perfect answer for it. Players, they would never say that. Now they understand, like, hey, the game plan will be simplified. It definitely be simplified. We're not going to do as much to go out there and try to put out our best work to win a game. But hey, like we'll go out there, do what we have to do, put up some type of fight or at least do something out there. It wasn't a fight today at all, but you know how it is, man. Just I feel like you just have to do that. The NFL, you will have a lot of people complaining about that. You're getting it now with the NBA, even though they're playing all 82 games. You got these players, rest days. We was talking about, we and Lonnie was going deep into that conversation about that. So when you're saying that, the NFL, they got the perfect setup. You got 18 weeks of football. You only play 17 games. You have a bye week. They thinking about implementing a bye week. I would say that the NFL trying to find ways to take care of their players so you can go out there and put up a performance for the fans. Because y'all know me, I'm in New Mexico right now. It would be pointless for me to go out there to Denver I'm only about like 5 hours away to go see Patrick Mahomes play. You know what I'm saying? Like that would be my first time seeing him in the stadium because I've been gone for a while. Alex Smith in there was still playing when I went to the game. You know what I'm saying? So that would be an opportunity for me, but I wouldn't be able to see that, right? So, you know, I think they do more than the typical you know, I say other teams and stuff like that. So you know, overall, I get it though. Right now I'm just rambling, but I think we get the gist of like it's the reason why they out there playing though. But I understand how you feel.
I understand, and I'm only coming from the point of view from one of those fans, like you just mentioned, because like I'm on your side because last year this exact type game that we played worked out in our favor. We won, and it was a
Right.
close game. Chris Jones got his sack, and everyone was satisfied, and all that stuff. And then they went on and won the Super Bowl, and everybody's happy. But you know, this one leaves like, you know, a little baby shred of doubt, like, oh man, if a certain somebody can't perform, we
Right.
just saw their backups against a playoff team not do so well, and that's the 7th seed.
Right.
What are you going to do against, you know, if I'm speculating right now, probably the Texans or the Chargers. You know, that's another AFC West matchup. You play the Chargers again. Maybe the Broncos could pull a miracle. They'd have to come to Arrowhead. You'd see this exact same team 3 weeks later. So, you know,
But we also see
questions.
too, when you get the Chief, when you do wake the Chiefs up, maybe that is the smelling salt, right, Clint? Do you want to give this team smelling salt going into the postseason? Did anybody really want to give them smelling salt going into the postseason, or did you want them smelling the roses going into the postseason? I mean, who wants to wake them up? Who wants to wake the beast up? So I mean, maybe they did. I mean, if they're looking at it like, if you're looking at it like that, Clint, I think you'll see a lot of way different Chiefs coming out in the division round because we know the championship mentality that this team has. And something like this is a no-go, no matter if it's starters or backups. So I think we can wait to hear what Big Red has to say after the game. But if they did give this team smelling salt going into the postseason, thank you so much, because that may be the spanking that they needed.
Yeah.
I understand. Maybe the best thing for the Chiefs is to see them having another loss on their schedule, knowing they're not going for, like, they weren't undefeated anyway, and to, like you said, leave a bad taste and like let the people doubt, because you know media is already all over it. Like, oh, the Bills, Josh Allen's MVP. Josh Allen will carry his team. Lamar Jackson's MVP. He'll carry the team. But arguably, Patrick Mahomes again shows himself why he's the MVP of the NFL every single year, because the game that he does not play in, his team loses 38-0. And I know Travis Kelce, Chris Jones, Trent McDuffie, George Karlaftis, all those guys have a big part of that. But we know that Patrick Mahomes with a bunch of Chiefs backups is enough to flash and make a game competitive, as he showed in his rookie year in 2017. But you know, I'm not saying from that perspective that like forfeiting should be, you know, available at all times. But the weather accommodations, the NFL had previously just had a game get completely taken off, something that had never been done before. So the NFL has set a precedent that they can just do something they've never done before, even if it's not something they would like to do. It is available option. Or they could have been able to push this game to, you know, Monday or Tuesday, considering how bad the weather still is around Kansas City. It didn't really seem like Denver was really affected by anything. But, you know, when it's a winter storm, you got to be, you know, cautious. And I know that the Bills have had like quite a few playoff games or like end of year games get pushed some days in order to accommodate for weather. So, you know, just nature of the beast, you know, should have that freedom, flexibility. You know, like, it's like, I think somebody kept asking, is Travis Kelce even on the sidelines? That's what I'm saying. Like, at this point, like, make it so that they don't even have to go. It's like, yeah. At this point, we field our entire practice squad, and that's actually our Week 18 scout game roster. And you just put them and nobody else on the plane. See you later. They play in the game, and the rest of your starters stay at home. And if you do that in that game, it's like a wasted high school game, and the NFL could just not put that on TV.
Well, yeah. Well, the chat is going crazy right now, y'all. We can't show some of the things out here. Hey, Chris, hey, bro, you got to leave with that energy. Like, no, like, I don't know what you on, but like, hey, like, it's cool. You can say that he can. I will take the catering. Like, you're talking to real. This is not your standard NFL media right here, sir. Like, boy, I will take the reps any day of the week. Like, I'll give him a whole meal ticket for a 3-peat. You think I care, bro? Like, get that on. Hey, let's go ahead and transition. We're gonna make Chris mad some more. Talk about what's to come for this postseason. So
Yes,
we had some significant news. We got some injury updates is going on as well too. So Rashee Rice, Scott Moore, they for sure not going to be in the postseason this year. Jalen Watson, 21-day open window is now available for him, and then also McCole Hardman as well too. So how y'all feel about that? Getting Jalen Watson back into that secondary, knowing what we was dealing with as well. Earlier in the season. So go ahead and start it off with that. How y'all feel about him returning?
I think it speaks for itself. Jalen Watson was one of the biggest additions that we didn't kind of notice until he was gone. The Chiefs' defense was playing at number one defense in the league type level before we lost Jalen Watson. So I think that's big for the Chiefs. That gives some coverage on the back end. Anytime you can hold guys for longer than 2 seconds on the back end, then you can get there with the pass rush. So I think it enhances the team and helps us a lot. Lets Shamari Connor get back to that position that he's originally used to playing, kind of in the slot, kind of being a rover type guy, blitzing. I'm doing a lot of different things. So I love Jalen Watson coming back. I can't wait to see what 35 does. I mentioned to you a couple playoffs ago, down the stretch, you remember he broke his hand, if y'all don't recall, before he played Jacksonville. And then Jalen Watson gets a game-winning pick with one hand in that game. So Jalen Watson is definitely a bigger deal of him coming back than not. So I love to see the J Watts coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed. I just hope we're not putting too much pressure on him because at this point he is needed, and he's coming off a significant broken bone in his leg that needs to be accounted for. So obviously we're assuming the best, and if Jalen Watson plays up to his standards, we've seen that him along with Trent McDuffie is quite a formidable team. And if you push Najee Johnson or Joshua Williams down an extra level, that is able to build their levels up, play wise, instead of kind of throwing them out there and putting them out there in the fire like we saw them today. And like I said earlier, that most of the secondary still played, minus the one key guy and our safety and linebacking core. But the secondary needs some sparks, and we're all hoping that Jalen Watson is that spark that can get us these next 3 wins the Chiefs need to make history.
Yeah, Jalen Watson, I'm glad that he worked his butt off to get to this point, because with him out there with Trent McDuffie, the duo is definitely similar to what we saw with Jerry Sneed and Trent McDuffie as well too. He definitely can play on the outside. He can match up with the best wide receiver as well too, and we have saw him done that multiple times as well, even when he wasn't even the number one guy. You had Sneed out there who did line up with everyone, but Jalen Watson wasn't scared to line up with anyone else as well too. We can go back to the AFC Championship game against the Bengals. He locked up T. Higgins and got a pick on him too in his face like this, like top here and bring it down. Like, he has the size, the physical nature. He has the physical attributes as well too. Long arms, lengthy, can stay with his guy. That's something that you need to go into the postseason, especially when you face off against the Buffalo Bills, the Baltimore Ravens, even the Chargers that you may see who can might knock off the Ravens. Who knows? Who knows? Like, we got to put that out there. Actually, they might more than likely, no, they more than likely might be facing off against the Houston Texans, because I think the Texans is number 4, right? So if the Chargers is 5, it's going to be 4 or 5. So who knows, depending on how that first round go, we can see them in the second round as well too. But in the divisional round. But having him back, I think that was great for the Kansas City defense, because when you look at it, we were always talking about 2 guys who weren't stepping up, Joshua Williams and Najee Johnson. I said in this game, whoever plays better is going to take the others' reps away when Jalen Watson is back, which in this case, I'm not going to lie, it was going to be Joshua Williams, because he has played with all of them before. So you kind of have the chemistry of those guys who came in with one another, playing with one another, going to be out there together as well too. They're going to take advantage of that. Najee Johnson, he will fit in where he fits in, because we know that he wants to be out there. Well, they want him to try to get out there. So I'm happy for him being back, and it's fortunate that he was able to work his butt off to get to this point as well too. So we'll see how it goes. But I mean, we here right now. We talking. We talked about we're going into the playoff football. I got one more question for y'all. So with this next week coming up, with some of the games that we're going to be looking out for, who will be your preferable matchup that you would like to see in that divisional round?
So I guess before we go into it, I'll just run them down real quick. So we got the Broncos playing at the Bills, 7-2. We got the Pittsburgh Steelers playing the Ravens for the 6-3. And then we have the Chargers as the 5, taking on Houston as the last divisional win. And, of course, the Chiefs have the number 1 seed. So, Lonnie, who do you like?
I mean, I think we all. I mean, I don't know, but I mean, the Broncos. I mean, any of the division opponents, I feel like are going to give us good matchups. Period. Point blank. They see us the most. They study us in training camp. They literally prepare for the Chiefs. So, any of those divisional matchups, I think those are going to be very, very hard matchups. But I like our shots against the Broncos. I mean, I know they're a hot defense and they've been getting a lot of sacks, but I think the Chiefs could get through that game. I mean, they played the defense like the Ravens, and they were lights out. And the Ravens were like, that was one of the best defenses in a while for the Ravens, I think, since like the Ray Lewis led defense. So I don't think nobody really standing in the Chiefs' way is going to stop them from winning the championship. I think this like run right here is more indicative of Mahomes and what he set out to do. I don't think it matters the color of the jersey, the personnel, anything. Whatever team that gets in front of him, I think we're going to see the same mentality we've seen in the AFC Championship. Like, this man, he's coming for it all. I think this is more a run that's predicated on him more than it is any other team. But I would rather see the Broncos.
Dale, do you agree that you would rather have the Broncos?
No, I'll take the Pittsburgh Steelers, to be honest. Hey, I would rather Pittsburgh go ahead and beat the Ravens if they can, and I'll take them. And I see in the chat people talking about they think that any matchup that we get is going to be tough. Let me tell you something right here. God mode for Mahomes, he's the only player that really even touched that. Brady, even in his prime, what he done, he had help with his weapons around him, and then also his defense. Mahomes, when it's like you put it on my back, boy, I'm carrying you to the finishing line. So what Lonnie is saying about it's predicated on him, it is, because right here, we're talking about the team. This is a team. This is a team sport, right? We know that as a team, you have to come together and go ahead and, of course, go out there and play your best ball and beat those opposing teams. But this is going to be bigger for Patrick Mahomes. There's a reason why. And you said it again right here. You said, okay, Brady beat y'all. That's cool. That's fine. The only one we worried about is Brady. He's the one that we're chasing titles. Brady haven't got a 3-peat. Brady hasn't done it at this pace that Patrick Mahomes has done it for. If I'm playing against a GOAT, I will hope the GOAT beats me. But I do have we are even on wins as well too. But he beat me in the bigger moments. Sometimes people want their heroes to do that. Okay, like I don't want to see my hero fail. Live up to something. But he got other ways that he can prove that I am better than him. So right here in this situation we in right now going to this postseason, I think this is going to be the most important for Patrick Mahomes' career. He's going to go to more. He's really going to go into more. But you have others beforehand who were able to go ahead and complete this three-peat. You're the number one team in the AFC conference. You have the bye. Honestly, where everybody feels, this is favorable for the Chiefs. These teams that we mentioned that everybody think that we're going to beat, we've done it multiple. When have they beat us in the postseason? When? Let's not talk about regular season. When have they beat us in the postseason? Steph Curry. Yeah, that's real. Curry knocked out some of your favorite players. That's one. Let me put it out there. He has. So, I mean, Clint, I know you're ready to go off. Go ahead, go. Take it away.
So I think for me, the opponent that I rather see, I don't think I have a particular preference of it all. You know, I think more than likely the Chiefs are going to play the winner of 4 versus 5. I think they're going to play either the Texans or the Chargers. Do either of you really think that the Ravens or the Bills are going to fall in their matchups and they're not playing?
Ravens could.
Okay,
Ravens could. That's a division
thrown
game.
out there.
That's
I don't see the Bills or the Ravens losing their games if their life's depending on it. That is the divisional round. Josh Allen versus Lamar Jackson divisional round. That's been like set for arguably 2 months, I think, in my mind. That's the matchup, and then Mahomes is going to get the winner of those two. So that's why in my mind it's been either Chargers or Texans, and I think out of those two, just because the Chiefs had previously beaten the Texans, I think they would play with a little bit more energy against them the second time, and knowing that the Texans are even more wounded than they were the last time they played them. But I also think that the Chargers, although they do match up well against the Chiefs, we had recently had their number, and I think playing a little higher standard or a little better football than when we did that last time, I think they get the job done. I don't know if I'm as confident about a Broncos matchup, especially with this game leaving as taste as it did. But if the Broncos did manage to make that upset, that would be quite an AFC Championship game once the Chiefs got that win done, to see who that other quarterback would be if it is not Josh Allen. So, I mean, go ahead, Dale. You think Lamar Jackson's gonna blow it in the wild card here? What?
I'm not saying that, but y'all better stop playing with Mike T, because everybody trying to cuff for his neck. That's where I'm coming at. They're like, we not gonna do Mike T, Omar Epps, all that. We combine. Them, they look too much alike. For the woman out here listening to the show, he looked like Omar Epps, so y'all can have that little comparison for y'all. You gotta gear to all our fan base, you know what I'm saying? Nah, for real. But when y'all think about it and we go into it, and we can talk about how Russell Wilson is not great and all this as well too, but if you have noticed, they have been saving Justin Fields though as well. That like his amount of snaps that he get into in those games, he makes plays out there with his feet. It's like they really have a dual quarterback setup. Russell, he's our passing quarterback. He can set up the offense, do what he need to do. Justin Fields, 3 to 2 yards. Hey, like you go out there, RPO, get the yardage, get the first down, get us upfield, do all of that. But the defense, Lamar, when he does get in these moments, he did get into the AFC Championship game last year, but he only had to play one game to get there too with the number 1 seed. He's going to have to work and work. So when you think about it and you look at it, I think the Steelers beat them in one of the matchups this year, though, earlier this year. I think they beat them like in the first game. So we can't go out there and act like they didn't beat them at all. I think that's why I have to put it out there that this is not going to be easy for them. So with the defense that they have, you got the Joey Porter Jr. at cornerback. He's going to be on Zay Flowers. Let's break it down. You have Alex Highsmith and TJ Watt going up against a Ravens offensive line. TJ Watt is going to get his money. They got that. How are you going to be able to stop? How are you going to be able to stop Derrick Henry? Are you gonna play up on the line of scrimmage? It's a lot of things that you can do. They matched up before. It's a divisional game, still in the wild card. It's nothing different. I don't say that's gonna be easy. Even the Broncos and the Buffalo Bills game, we see that pass rush. They got 60 plus sacks on the season, the highest sack total in the year. Lonnie made mention of it. You see, if they hit Josh Allen like that on next Saturday, Sunday, it might get real. Because they got Patrick Surtain II. He's lining up on Shakur. He can line up on Keon Coleman. Whoever you want him to line up on, he will. Let's talk about it. We see them twice a year. We know them. They don't want to see us because they just seen what we have grown to. But y'all haven't seen these boys. We kept them down. Defensively, in the AFC West, we like that. So Josh is not sweet going into Buffalo. They will go up there in a snowy environment. It snows in Denver. It's not scaring them. They have nothing to lose. Sean Payton. Hey. What's the coach name over there? I forgot. I be forgetting.
Sean McDermott.
Sean McDermott. Hey, this is not nobody regular. This is Sean Payton. He won a Super Bowl. He got there. He actually got there before and won one. Let's start putting it into perspective now. They're number 7. They had a run a little bit. They dropped the last 3. They were supposed to already be secure. They win. It's not going to be sweet. I'm glad that this is going to be a tough playoff run for the Chiefs, so everybody can shut up. It was tough last season. It's going to be a tougher again this year, so everybody can shut up. I'm not scared for real, honestly. Put everybody out there. Y'all think I'm scared in the chat? I don't give me Buffalo second round. Forget them playing somebody. Play us in the second round. They don't want to do that. They want to get to that last game to have hope for the last play. We ain't scared. I'm telling you, that's the heart of a champion right there. I'm telling you, Pat, God mode. If you want anybody close, I did this last year. I went on this rant, and you heard me on live stream last year during the Super Bowl run. If you want anybody close to God when it comes into this sport, it's going to be Patrick Mahomes. I don't care. You can say Brady did this, takes what? No, nobody plays the game how he plays. When his back against the wall. When his back is against the wall. When he was down 24-0. When he was down 20-10. When he was down by 10. It doesn't matter. Put me down 30. You hear how Tony Romo was talking on the broadcast today, and he's not even out there on the field? He was inactive. We know the Chiefs 31-0. Who doing that? Who? Why? Y'all not saying that about anybody else but the Chiefs. So it's cool. We can be the scheme team. We can have the rest on our side. But at the end of the day, you always gonna go through the Kansas City Chiefs.
All said, my friend.
All right.
Yeah.
So yeah, go ahead. Give it final thoughts before we go ahead and close it out.
I mean, I think you said it best. I mean, this is the one game. I mean, it was fine. This was a bad loss, of course, right? But looking ahead to the divisional round and the playoffs, like I said, I think this run is predicated on Mahomes. This is all about him and his legacy. Like you said, Brady has done a lot of things, but what no quarterback and no NFL team has ever done is three-peat. So we can talk about all the stuff we want to. We can talk about all this other stuff or what other quarterbacks have done. Nobody in the NFL, you can look that up. Nobody in the NFL has ever been able to three-peat. That's the hardest thing to do. Hardest thing in the world. One of the hardest sports in the world. So I think Mahomes is looking at that. And in order to separate himself from the rest of these other lackluster quarterbacks that are being talked about in the chat, I think he goes and gets this one. This run is totally a mentality. Jordan, Steph Curry, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, you name the biggest players in the world. You name LeBron James. I don't care who your favorite player is. That's the energy he's channeling, and that I think that we're about to see exalted on the rest of these teams. Whoever decides to walk in the Arrowhead, this is the run that separates him from the rest of the NFL right here. You talk about everybody. You can talk about everybody else you want to talk about, but nobody has ever three-peated. And I think he understands that. 3 games separates you from everybody else. There is no more talking. There is no more conversation. No team has ever done it. So I think he understands that.
Yeah. For those who were dedicated enough to watch us or listen to the post game on Spotify, bless you, because this game was not about the game. This
At all.
conversation was not about the game at all, and we appreciate if you stuck with us or just heard us rambling about something else to fill the time, because we really wanted to talk to you after what was a very, very long time, from essentially a packed couple days leading up to Christmas, and then just this long stretch of nothing. And we knew this game was, a backups game. And at that point, you would have just preferred them to continue sitting and like, oh, this game happened. Oh, I didn't notice. Okay, float. And we're moving on, and we're waiting for the postseason, where the Chiefs will sit at home and wait for a divisional round opponent to be established. And assuming they win that matchup, whoever it is, will host an AFC championship, possibly against a MVP winning quarterback, and can redo that type of revenge that Patrick Mahomes has been able to do when a fellow quarterback in the postseason wins the MVP award, and Mahomes does not. So maybe, like you said, Dale, we'll get to see that type of retribution throwing Patrick Mahomes. But this game didn't leave us, not saying confident, but didn't give us an impression about, what this team will look like in the playoffs. And I guess maybe that's the scariest thing it can be, is to just have this long stretch where maybe Andy Reid's figured out a completely new type of offense, going to throw some brand new wrinkles nobody's seen all season. And Spags is going to unleash some tenacious blitzes from all over the place and accumulate all those sacks that the Broncos were accumulating today against a second backup offensive line led team. But overall, you can't think much about this game as the Chiefs are focused on the three-peat, as we all should be. But of course, there's one game at a time. The regular season's officially over, and now we can look ahead to the postseason. We're in January, which means the Chiefs actually care about football again.
Yep. Yeah. And I see, we getting a lot of feedback and what's going to go on in the chat. And I would say this: go look up on the history of the game. Go look at what you're talking about and get your facts in order, and then you'll see what you're saying. It goes towards the quarterback that's on the Chiefs and not the quarterback that's on the Bengals. But that's all we have for this edition of the live post game. Thank everyone for, of course, supporting and tapping in with the show today. Even though it was a somber performance from our backups and it was a loss, a lot of how we're talking, you see, it wasn't anything sad going on or being emotional about it, because it was nothing really to be mad about. But make sure to follow us on all our social media platforms at Red Kingdom Media, and also subscribe to our YouTube channel as well too. Appreciate everyone that has been tapping in and of course subscribing to us as well. We on the road to 500, so please help us get there. Support us. We have a giveaway when we get to that as well too, so be on the lookout for that. And then we can have a raffle for that and give up some Chiefs merch that's related for that. But once again, that's all we have for this edition of the live post game show with Red Kingdom Media. And as always, go Chiefs.
Thanks for checking out this update straight from the heart of Chiefs Kingdom. We appreciate your passion, so please leave a like and follow us wherever you tune in from. See you next tailgate, your trusted source for all things Chiefs, Red Kingdom Media.